You come to see. Very funny guy. You may have seen him in the New York Times. If you haven't, you're about to see him right here on this stage. Please welcome Mr. Tim Lee.
Keep it going for your host, Brian Boucher. Huh? I'll always remember the first time I met Brian. I was working at my day job at IKEA. But I am probably telling I'm in a great mood tonight because I got some fantastic news. Looks like I just came into a couple $100,000. It's just notified via email the money is already waiting for me. It's in Nigeria, so. Decided I would take some of that newfound wealth, go see my favorite rock and roller. Went online to get the tickets. They make that experience a little harder than it needs to be, don't they? Address check, credit card check, but that's not enough anymore. No, they got a puzzle for me to solve as well. They put up a picture of bad graffiti on a checkerboard. And I have to figure out what the hell it says. Why is it that in order to see Barry Manilow live, I need to be good at Sudoku? And having fun in Seattle. Notice a little more things walking around today. A hell of a lot of psychics here in Seattle. There's a woman up at like 4th and Bell it is, I think it is. She has a sign out that says psychic readings. Past, present, future. Now if you need a psychic to tell you your past, you don't have a spiritual problem. You got a drinking problem. Today was an interesting day. I saw the mail slogan, which is neither snow, nor rain, nor sleet, nor hail shall stop the U.S. mail. Until I came to Seattle, I didn't realize all those things could happen in a single day. But I did a little people watching, which is always fun, and I noticed something, which is that if you wear a lab coat to work, you're either a high-energy particle physicist, classified weapons chemist, or you sell makeup at the mall. But I came here and they actually had my name out front earlier, which can be confusing because a lot of times people see the last name Lee and they assume I'm going to be Chinese. So I realized the spam I get is a little different than the spam other white people get. I get spam like, not satisfied with your 3.9 grade point average? I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I did come into comedy in a little bit of a strange fashion. I finished my PhD. Then I went into comedy, which I do not recommend. Spending 6 years of your life training for the Olympics, and then going, you know what, I think I'd rather be a glassblower. People think it's strange that a scientist to become a comedian. I don't think that's strange. I think it'd be weird if someone went the other way. Hey, did you hear who's running Los Alamos Nuclear Laboratory? Larry the Cable Guy. But I have found a way to combine the comedy with the PhD. We got a brief seminar here tonight, starting off with a review of the labor theory of value. This is a theory that was promulgated by Marx, became the basis of all Marxist economics. The labor theory of value proposes a relationship between work and value. The more work that goes into something, the more valuable it becomes. And I never really understood this until I saw Pamela Anderson. This is Pam's Hollywood value versus the amount of work that's gone into her. But is it possible that Marx was wrong? Can value actually decrease as more work is done? Acquired immune response. This is the principle upon which vaccines operate. Vaccines actually expose you to something very similar to a real disease. And the idea here is to give your immune system practice. Because the first time you're exposed to a disease, the immune response is slow and measured. The second time you're exposed to the same disease, the immune response is immediate and overwhelming. And that's what gives you immunity to that disease. found a very similar response in my exposure to Jersey Shore. First exposure induced mild nausea and headaches. Second exposure, immediate vomiting. This is my reaction to watching the video of the fan being tasered when he ran onto the field in Philadelphia. And the line here is enjoyment. First exposure, there was some joy, but it was joy tempered by concern. But after that, it was pure joy. Scalers and vectors. I've been actually doing a volunteer tutoring at a JC here where I live. Volunteer tutoring, huh? Volunteer tutoring at a JC near where I live. And a lot of people get these confused. Scalar is what we normally think of as a number, but a vector will have both a magnitude and a direction. And this was a scalar math problem I came across where the solution guide was actually incorrect. Bachelor is heading for a date, which is expected to cost $100. He rents a car for the date, and will cost an additional $50. If he rides the bus, it will cost $5. How much will he save by riding the bus? Seems pretty straightforward. $50 for the rental car versus $5 for the bus. That's a $45 savings. And that is a solution in the solution guide, but that was actually incorrect because he actually saves an additional $100 when his date ditches him because she sees he's arrived on the bus. Vector problem, the solution will have both a magnitude and a direction.
Oh.
It's 100 kilometers per hour. Finally, vector problem with the scalar solution. Like the situation Sorrentino is 1 meter from a bomb shelter. When he stops to place a stick of gum in his mouth. A bomb traveling 50 meters per second is 2,000 meters directly above him. Transition probability. This is a tool I used on my dissertation. I worked on anadromous fishes. This is a transition probability diagram for salmon. All salmon start up in an egg state. They have a 30% chance of becoming a hatchling, a 70% shot of ending up as river scum. Even if they make it to the hatchling stage, only a 5% chance of becoming a juvenile from there. Not a very promising life history. But there is something out there with an even more ominous outlook. The child star. Starts off looking really good. You're a child and a star, hoping to become that adult superstar, but you only have a 10% shot of becoming a superstar. You have a 20% shot of becoming a porn star, and a 70% shot of ending up as river scum. Doesn't matter what path you take, everyone ends up in rehab. And there you have a 40% shot of hosting a radio show. 40% chance of dancing with the stars. Or a 20% chance of becoming a politician. Chaos. One of the tools we have for understanding chaotic systems is the final state diagram. And some of you will recognize this as the final state diagram for the non-dimensionalized form of the logistic equation. Some of you will not, but it's easy enough to understand if we replace this cryptic variable r with something a little more tangible. It's a drinker's final state versus the number of drinks they've had. If everyone in your party limits themselves to 3 drinks, pretty much everyone ends up in a reasonable state. As those reasonable people continue to drink, they split into 2 groups. As the happy group continues to drink, they split once again. Drink up, folks. The bar's still open. This is a picture I took near where I live. This is actually the Hermosa Pier, Hermosa Beach, Los Angeles. Has anyone here been to Hermosa Beach by Redwood Plus? A few of you? Yeah. This is basically what I like to refer to as Disneyland for alcoholics. It's a single liquor store followed by 9 bars. There really should be a sign up front here that says, if you don't drink, there is nothing for you here. But I moved down there, I guess, I can't even keep track of it now. Time flies by. 2 years ago. Yeah. This was 2 years ago, yeah. And my girlfriend and I broke up and I moved to LA to sort of start over in the entertainment business. But I did learn something very important from that whole experience, and that is if you want to learn about a woman quickly, find out what kind of juice she likes to drink. She's into apple juice, gonna be a homey woman, probably a good cook. She's into orange juice, a little more outdoorsy, a little more zesty. She's into cranberry juice, she's got a urinary tract infection. Cut that date short. And I want to start a new dating service. I want a dating service that will actually follow up after you get dumped to figure out what the hell really went wrong. The world's first dating investigative service. Yeah, hey Mark? Yeah, this is Tim from Pebbledisc.com. Yeah, finally had that post-relationship wrap-up with Jessica. I think you're going to feel a lot better once you get some answers. Well, as it turns out, you have a putrid body odor that reminds her of rancid bacon fat. No, there's more. It was very hard being part of a couple. You see a lot of strange behavior in couples. Have you seen these couples that walk around in matching outfits? You notice the woman in that couple is just beaming with pride. That's because, as far as the battle of the sexes goes, the matching outfit is the male signal for unconditional surrender. When a woman hands you that matching outfit to put on, that's her way of saying, oh, honey, kneel down before your master. What is the point of that matching outfit? Is a woman afraid she might lose the man? Just needs a quick description of what he's wearing for the police. Well, officer, he's wearing basically this. Red halter top with a blue mini skirt.
That could rock.
It's strange, I'm old, I just had another birthday. Officially old, and I'm still single, and I think I've reached the age where I realize the problem has to be me. I need to focus more on brains. I need to find a woman not smart enough to realize I've got problems. That's why I moved to LA.
You'll do well. You'll do well.
So, I do get lonely on the road. But I hate it when I hear rock stars trying to play the lonely rock star sympathy card. Kid Rock has a song. Living my life in a slow hill. Different girl every night at the hotel. Sounds pretty good to me. I was actually bored enough when I moved down to Los Angeles and first got down there. I went to a mixer my insurance agent threw. Don't ever do that. And, he was kind enough to corner me and try and force me to buy some life insurance. I was like, well, I don't have a wife and kids. What do I need life insurance for? Well, you need to have enough money to cover your funeral expenses. Says who? Besides, I have a cost-free way to handle my body after I die. I'm joining the body's exhibit. It'd be great for my family. Oh, Tim's in town. He's the colorectal display. How many people here have seen the body's exhibit? Quite a few of you, yeah, it's fascinating. They have them in some interesting poses. Try to make them look as alive as possible. You got one guy throwing a baseball, another guy's kicking a soccer ball, another guy's paddling a kayak. Never see dead people doing that. Should have them doing the Thriller, Monster Mash. But I always go see that when I'm on the road. It's kind of a morbid curiosity. I don't know why. I'm in the same town. I'll go check it out. But last time I went to see it, I guess it was Cleveland. I called up to get the tickets, and the woman on the other end of the line was like, "You know what? You sound like an announcer." Like that was a problem. Like that can actually come in handy. Like I recently bought a new automobile, and when I got home, I could explain to my roommate, "It's a brand new car." That's right. It's a Pontiac Vibe, fully loaded. The problem is, I am stuck with this voice, and it's not always appropriate. Guess what, buddy? Your cat's been killed. That's right, it was run over by a Pontiac Vibe, fully loaded. The other thing about having a low voice is that it's scary for children. So when I meet a child, I change my voice a little bit, and I explain to them that you don't know the power of the dark side. I think I do change my voice on the phone. I think a lot of people do that, though, which brings us into our next seminar topic, mobile phone use. A number of studies trying to link mobile phone use to acoustic neuroendocrine glioma or a form of brain cancer. None of them have been completely definitive, but there are some diseases we know are caused by mobile phone use. First is PDS, or phantom vibratory syndrome. This is when you reach frantically for your vibrating phone, only to find that it's not even in your pocket. There's also PCS, or phony call syndrome. So when you're out by yourself and you pretend like someone's calling you. Finally, ISC, or iPhone Superiority Complex. I have to be honest with you guys, I did recently break down and buy an iPhone. And let me tell you something, I feel a lot better about myself. Disassociation. The disassociation of salt in water is actually a process of sodium chloride being broken apart into its constituent ions. Sodium and chlorine actually very tightly bonded. That's an ionic bond. Very difficult to break. But multiple water molecules acting in concert will replace that single strong bond with multiple weak bonds. Just like sodium and chlorine, an athlete and his wife very strongly bonded when that athlete's in the minor leagues. When they sign that big league contract, they are thrown into a sea of bimbos and money. Bimbos will actually work in concert to separate the athlete from his fuzzy logic. This is a form of computer logic. It was Lopez Zeta who came up with this, but that allows for things to be partially true. Classic example here is water. Think of water when it's frozen at 0 degrees Celsius. It's 100% true that water is cold. As the water gradually gets warmer and warmer, it becomes less and less true that the water is cold, and more true that the water is hot. This is how good of an employee you are versus how often you lie. As you lie more and more often, it becomes less and less true that you are a good employee, and more true that you are a good manager. If you lie too much, at some point even your own employees don't know what to believe, and at that point you have to move into sales. That's an interesting case here. The molecule on the right there, norethindrome, that's actually the original progesterone used in the pill. And that was invented by a company called Syntex, which was operating out of Mexico back in 1951 for legal reasons. And they had to go through some litigation about this because in 1953, Searle came up with norethindrome. And it was subsequently discovered that when norethindrome was subjected to the acid in the stomach, simply converted into norethindrome. And so they had to go through a good deal of patent litigation to sort out the rights there. But I found that this case is not unique. For example, honey roasted peanuts plus a good deal of chewing. That is simply converted into Skippy peanut butter. Honey roasted peanuts plus even more chewing, and that is Skippy Extra Creamy. Bag full of lawnmower refuse plus about 30 seconds of jumping up and down. That is a shot of wheatgrass. And pickpocket plus 2 weeks of internet training, and that is Ticketmaster. Oh, this is a recent study. I found this one pretty interesting. They found out there's a lot more information in canine growls than we ever imagined possible. There's actually different growls based on the message that the canine would like to send. We break them down into 3 categories. One is I'm not angry, I'm just playing. I'm angry about a stranger approaching. And finally, I'm very angry, stay away or I'll bite you. I actually found a similar form of vocalization in Bridesmaids. Broken down into 3 categories. I'm perturbed about the bridesmaid's dress. I'm angry about the bridesmaid's dress. Finally, I'm very angry. Stay away, I'll bite you. Found that the intensity of the vocalization was proportional to the price of the dress, whereas the duration of the vocalization depends on the color of the dress. It's a side-by-side comparison of the growl from a cheap black dress versus an expensive gold dress, which induced a litany of growls, including what look like bowling trophies. Self-centered bridezilla, self-absorbed bridezilla, cold-hearted bridezilla, hard-hearted bridezilla, unsympathetic bridezilla. ¿Dónde está la bridezilla? Battery principle. Batteries work on the principle that an electron would like to flow from the negative terminal to the positive terminal along the path of least resistance. And we're able to harness this desire to force it to do work along the way before it gets to its goal, reaching the positive terminal. Actually, a very similar principle used against me by a yoga instructor I was interested in. She sensed that I wanted to go straight from the introduction right to the good loving. She was able to harness that desire to get work out of me, which included dinner, drinks, watching Eat, Pray, Love, pretending to enjoy it, babysitting our cats, pretending like that, learning to apologize when I'm wrong, learning to apologize when I'm not wrong, apologizing when she's wrong. Before I got to my goal, she cut the circuit. Exponential decay is a process we see in radionuclides and also in objects approaching room temperature. Here is the first place that I was introduced to exponential decay. On the x-axis here, it's the number of months since my last date. And the line here is my standards. Starts off, I'm looking for good looks, good character, loves the outdoors. After 3 months, that switches to some looks, some character, tolerates the outdoors. And after 7 months, that's has a head, no wants, lives outdoors. You guys can't see the bottom of the screen. I just realized because everyone's head starts going like this as soon as something's down low down there. And why is everyone doing that? Is it shaking out here? I couldn't figure what was going on. Oh, this is a picture I took actually my last trip to Europe. That's City Hall in Vienna, which I found Austria to be beautiful. I learned a lot about Europe. Didn't know that much about Austria or any place I visited. And I found out something fascinating, which I thought, did you know until 1650, everyone in Great Britain drank alcohol with every meal because the water was not safe to drink. What I learned in my last trip is that the British are still not taking any chances. So, you probably see, I don't know if you've noticed, but I have a leg brace on right now because I had surgery, I guess, 2 weeks ago. The doctor was British. I guess that's what I kind of thought about that. It was, I had to get, I guess, my ACL replaced. I don't guess that's what happened, but yeah. So I had to get my ACL replaced, and they didn't want me out for some reason. I wanted to be out, but you know, I don't know why I had to be awake for the thing. But as they were wheeling me into the operating room, the nurse looks at me and she's like, "You know how you hear those horror stories? How someone comes in here for a simple procedure and then they end up having their leg amputated instead?" No. I said, "Well, you're not going to have to worry about that because you're going to be awake through this whole thing." "Well, aren't you, little Miss Sunshine?" So it was funny because then afterwards, I guess this was February 16th, I had the operation, and then last week I had to go back to see a different doctor, not the surgeon. I was waiting there for quite some time before he finally came in. And I'm like, "Are you the doctor?" He's like, "Well, why else would I be dressed like this?" "Because you sell makeup at the mall?" So, yeah, it was kind of interesting. He said, "Well, this is kind of a, not that I care, it's a 19th century tradition, this garb," which is one of my other pet peeves. I hate it when people use the word century because then I have to go, well, 19th century, that means 19 minus 1, that's 1800s. So he's talking about somewhere in the 1800s. Well, can't we just say the 18th century? And every time I say that, someone comes up with the explanation, well, years 0 through 100, well, that's the first century. Yeah, but how often does the first century come up in conversation? "Hey, Tim, I was just brushing up on my Aramaic, and can you tell me what century Paul wrote those letters to the Corinthians?" It's just... Anyway, I'm just babbling. But I think I overthink things, probably because I have this abnormally large head. Which is strange, because my sister actually has a very beautiful petite head, and we have to be careful when we take pictures together. Catch us from the wrong angle. It looks like her head is actually orbiting my head. Never certain. Segue us into our next seminar topic, which is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. A lot of people misunderstand this. They think it means that sticking the thermometer in the soup changes the temperature of the soup. That is true, but that's not the uncertainty principle that Heisenberg formulated. He actually formulated a trade-off between your knowledge of the position and momentum of a particle. The more you know about the position, the less you know about the momentum. And the more you know about the momentum, the less you know about the position. Whoever decided to start putting television sets above urinals clearly did not understand the uncertainty principle. Problem is, the more I know about what's on TV, the less I know about where. Homologous substitution. Certain substitutions will actually have no noticeable effect. This is a fragment of a molecule of messenger RNA, 3 uracils, 2 guanines, and a cytosine. We can actually remove the cytosine and replace that with a uracil, and that will have no effect on protein synthesis. It's a rock and roll band consisting of a guitarist, a singer, a bassist, and a drummer. We can actually remove the drummer and replace him with the guy you find living under a bridge. Ratio is actually very important to determine our behavior, whether we realize it or not. For example, the signal-to-noise ratio determines our hearing behavior. This black line is a signal, and the pink line is the noise. When the signal is weak relative to the noise, at that point you can't hear. As it increases in strength, you get to the point where you can hear. And as it continues to increase in strength, you finally get to the point where you can hear clearly. Of course, ratios determine other important behaviors as well. My porta potty behavior determined entirely by this ratio. Both of of these are affected by alcohol. Before I start drinking, at that point a porta potty is a won't use. A few drinks after that, I can't refuse. And a few drinks after that, significance. When you're doing a regression, you want all your points as close to the line as possible for significant results, the regression line as possible. But you also want to make sure that the slope of the line is different from zero. That is, it's not perfectly horizontally flat. This is the number of times you're caught with a hooker versus your popularity. Tiger Woods, a very significant negative relationship there, but that relationship doesn't hold for all celebrities. Origins of life. Actually, before we go any further, how many? I did a show for Microsoft right after they released Windows 7. How many people here, by round of applause, have upgraded to Windows 7? Quite a few people. I've actually been pleasantly surprised. I like the stability improvements. I like the UI improvements. I like the security improvements. I think those are very important. At least you guys liked that a lot better than the Microsoft team did, I'll tell you that much. Oh, this is a picture I found of the founders of Microsoft, believe it or not. Lower left-hand corner, that's Bill Gates. Lower right-hand corner, that's Paul Allen. In the upper right-hand corner, if I'm not mistaken, that is the lead vocalist from Boston. The guitarist from Boston also cut his hair and joined the Microsoft team. Probably the most famous of all the Microsoft founders, right there in the center, that is Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter. Taking us back to 75. So, thank you guys for coming out here tonight. I'm always happy to leave Los Angeles because I've spent most of my time while I'm in Los Angeles driving around to acting auditions. Has anyone here been on an acting audition? Oh, one person, yeah. Well, let me show you how acting auditions have been going for me, at least in Los Angeles. You know what, Tim? That's just about perfect. We just want you to change one thing. Could you be a little more charming? You know what I'm talking about? Throw in a Commonwealth accent, like British or South African. And can you put a little movement in the piece? Can you do the disco robot or perhaps the moonwalk? And show some vulnerability, carefully shrouded behind a Latin American machismo. Did you watch Fantasy Island? Think about what Hervé Valdez would do with the piece. Let the feminine side come through. Femininity should flow from the words like lava coming down Mount Merapi. Where's your energy? This piece is about energy like Antarctica is about penguins. You should be a nuclear bomb of pure penguin passion, ready to unfurl your desires like soot coming down after a forest fire. Oh yeah, I'm gonna nail this one. That's the money you could be saving with Geico. I forgot the accent, didn't I? They actually lost a digital camera, one of these acting auditions. I had to stop by Target to pick up a new one. Checking in, I saw their sign, Target. Expect more, pay less. So I stole the camera. And I complained their security was not up to my expectations. I guess they're trying to set standards for their store. I've always had a little bit of a problem with standards. As a kid, my dad said I had no standards about what I would eat, which wasn't true, because anything that entered this temple had to pass 2 tests. Had to be sweet, had to be brightly colored. Cotton candy, Fruit Loops, Fun Dip. Fun Dip was pure genius. A piece of solid sugar that you lick and dip in colored sugar. That's kitty crack cocaine. But nowadays, I'm the exact opposite. I love fresh, organic food. In fact, my whole goal in life is just to have enough money and I can do all of my shopping at Whole Foods. Figure I need $500 million. Ladies, if you're looking for a guy with money, forget about going after the guy in the BMW. It's probably leased. You want to find a guy with money, you go to Whole Foods, you look for a guy with a full basket. Can't get financing on organic cheese. Some of the prices they have in there are amazing. They got a bottle of wine at Whole Foods that's worth more than my car. That's ridiculous. Who's going to spend $30 on wine? Oh. So after the show, I think I'll be out back. Actually, I don't think I will be. I will be back there if you want to say hi on the way out. And I think we have DVDs and T-shirts. If you buy a DVD, then you get the T-shirt with it. It's $20. And if you have enjoyed the show tonight, please do take the time to go online with whatever ticketing service you got your tickets with, and leave a nice review. These online reviews are becoming more and more important for us comedians. And if you haven't enjoyed the show tonight, there's no point in writing a review. It's a waste of your time. No one reads those things anyway. I will wrap it up with this. Origins of life. There's certain milestones in the history of life we should all be aware of. For example, 4.5 billion years ago, we saw the formation of the Earth from the explosion and then collapse of a star that subsequently became our sun. 1 billion years after that, we started to see the very first fossils in the fossil record, which were assumed to be some form of anaerobic bacteria. 3.4 billion years ago. Stumbled over my own punchline. Then 1 billion years after that, Larry King's future wife begins to evolve from cyanobacteria. Sex linkage. This is the characteristics of genes found on the sex chromosomes. This is a female. She has 2 copies of the X. If one of them has a defect, working copy actually hides the defect. Problem arises when this female has a son who inherits that defective X chromosome. Suddenly, there's nothing to hide behind. At that point, the defect does become apparent. This is the genetic equivalent to turning on the lights at the club. Radiocarbon dating. It's a tool used to analyze the age of items found in archaeological digs. All living organisms fix radiocarbon, and because radiocarbon disappears at a predictable rate, we can tell how long ago something died by how much of it is left. I found out I use a very similar technique to tell how long it's been since I've done my laundry. I can tell exactly how long it's been by how much clean underwear I have left. Right after I do my laundry, I'll have 20 pairs, crisp and clean. And then 1 week later, 19 pairs. You can also tell how long an individual piece of underwear by how much of it is left. After I buy it, it's 1 pair, bright and strong. About 6 months later, the seams are gone. And 3 months after that, it's changed into that's when I start to feel sexy. Wrap it up on this. Effective population size. This is a concept introduced by an American geneticist by the name of Sewell Wright. And the idea here is that even though a population may appear to be quite large, in terms of its breeding potential, it can actually be very small. I see this every time I go to a party looking for a date. At first glance, it looks like there's a large population to choose from. But since I'm a straight guy, I immediately eliminate all the men. Then all the women that are out of my league. All the women that are beneath my standards. Anyone that already has a boyfriend? Who am I kidding? And, of course, anyone who's already been traumatized by Charlie Sheen. All right, I'm going to wrap it up on that one. Thank you guys so much for coming out here tonight. I thought it was a joy to